Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to have been asked to offer closing remarks for this year's Global Forest Summit. This second edition of the Global Forest Summit is absolutely critical to helping us catalyse the pledges made in the Glasgow Leaders' Declaration on Forest and Land Use at COP26, which brought together 141 countries representing more than 90% of the world's forests. This landmark declaration helped to highlight that climate change and biodiversity loss must be tackled together, since they are, as we know, part of one harmonious system. However, while the Glasgow Declaration offers us a helpful framework, achieving results requires transformative action on the ground. Now, I'm afraid if we are really serious about protecting 30% of the world's biodiversity by 2030, we now need to see widespread implementation in every country. This requires that we rapidly identify where support is needed, who our implementation partners are, and what mechanisms we need to ensure funding can reach where it is needed. This is why, in 2020, I established the Circular Bioeconomy Alliance to create community-led regenerative landscapes that work for nature, people, and the planet. Working in harmony and in partnership with local and indigenous communities, I am delighted to say that we are already piloting regeneration initiatives in 10 countries. But I need hardly say that there are hundreds of millions of hectares of degraded land around the world in desperate need of regeneration. And we need only look to the Great Green Wall in Africa and the deforestation of the Amazon to see the scale of the challenge at hand. Only by rewarding countries, businesses, and communities that actively invest in the regeneration of biodiversity, the sustainable management of their forests, and the pursuit of a forest-positive economy can we have any hope of succeeding at a global level. The policy and regulatory changes introduced by governments have the capacity both to disincentivize investments in deforestation and the loss of vital natural assets on which we depend, and to incentivize investments in forest-positive and nature-positive outcomes. Nature, with billions of years of evolution, holds many of the solutions we need to build a sustainable future. This is something the world's indigenous peoples understand only too well, and is precisely why we should listen to and learn from their profound wisdom. Apart from the fact that we ourselves are a part of nature, and by destroying it carelessly and thoughtlessly, we are destroying ourselves, protecting and restoring nature also makes economic sense. Nature is estimated to contribute $125 trillion to the global economy annually. Everything we use, produce, and purchase ultimately has been created from nature's inputs. The shift to renewable, bio-based solutions is therefore an opportunity to rethink industries so that they become nature positive and climate neutral, while creating new jobs and more inclusive prosperity. Investment in natural capital and the vital services nature provides us can therefore support productive and resilient agriculture, agroforestry, forestry and aquaculture, while avoiding the pitfalls of climate change, land degradation, resource depletion and poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, all these measures would shift our economy onto a more sustainable trajectory. There is growing interest in investing in these solutions across both public and private sectors. Like so many people around the world, I am looking to you, ladies and gentlemen, for clear objectives, rapid action, and sustained effort over the coming decades with the right partners. Increasingly, it isn't the availability of funding that is the problem. It is well-defined projects that have national as well as local support. Ladies and gentlemen, my greatest hope is that this summit will have provided, at last, a real sense of the urgent systemic shifts that need to happen to deliver on the vision. Over all these years of my involvement with these critical issues, I have noticed how many commitments and pledges have been made, but never fulfilled. For this reason, I can only encourage you all, in the strongest possible terms, to take forward the work you have discussed today with the utmost resolve and determination. I pray that when you are welcomed to the UK next year for the Global Forest Summit 2023, radical progress will have been made in putting the world onto a much more sustainable path. We must not forget that we are facing a global emergency of unprecedented proportions, and with a real and present danger of losing the entire life-supporting services of the Amazon forest through climate-related feedback loops. Since humankind took its first steps on this planet that we all call home, there has existed what can only be described as a sacred harmony and delicate balance between us and nature. Our generation has a fundamental responsibility to the next and to future generations yet unborn to pass on to them a healthier planet than we inherited. Ladies and gentlemen, as I've been trying to say for far too many years now, we have been in dereliction of our duty on this score, and instead have been recklessly and arrogantly testing this world to destruction, as if it was some kind of laboratory. The immense urgency to put this right must be the highest priority of all. So I hope I can count on you all to work with my Circular Bioeconomy Alliance in order to expedite our efforts. In recent years, as a result of our rejection of that sacred covenant with nature, we have witnessed nature's awesome power to destroy. We must now see humankind's power to rebuild. The actions you take today, or fail to take, as individuals, as nations, and as a community of nations, will quite literally determine the quality of life our children and grandchildren will have. We simply cannot afford to fail, for there is no more sacred or vital task.